Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. I hope you're ready for another trip to Delulu Land. Our house guests of the day, we have Jesse Rubens, we have Eric and his wife Megan Nyman, and happy belated birthday to Megan. I hope you had a wonderful day. And Michael Grossman. Thank you all so much for being our house guests of the day and for watching along with us this season and seasons past. We really, really appreciate you. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, send us an email to madrosed@gmail.com and we will get you on the list. Just make sure you put house guest of the day as the subject line. All right. We have a lot to talk about. And welcome everyone. Oh my God, Christine, you have no idea. Be prepared to be annoyed. Lana Del Rey is mentally preparing. Good. Yeah, Riley makes me uncomfy too. He's just I have a very low tolerance for how much of him I can watch on the live feeds at a time because he just creeps me out so much. Like the stuff with Catherine is just it's very difficult to watch. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So when we left off yesterday, tensions were rising in the house. Jimmy is on the block with Riley and Kelly, and Jimmy is, of course, Mickey's number one target. Her secondary target is Kelly. So if she can't get Jimmy, she wants Kelly to go. She wants Riley to stay no matter what. I just don't get it. I don't get why she is suddenly so obsessed with Riley. I don't know if she's just like afraid of him in the game, but like if you're so afraid of him, just get rid of him now. Then you don't have to worry about him anymore. I guess she thinks that like he's on board with her so he can win competitions and then like carry out what she wants, but just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Ashley and Will seemed poised to try to flip the vote to save Jimmy this week. And keep in mind, Jimmy would need 6 votes to stay. Ashley and Will were not happy about Mickey's decision to put Jimmy up on the block. They were not really for that. They were not really included in that decision. And they think that Mickey got manipulated by Morgan and Vince to do that because it just made no sense for Mickey's personal game to take a shot at Jimmy. He was not coming after her. They don't even realize Jimmy was in a final 3 with Mickey. And Jimmy has not, to my knowledge, outed that final 3 with Mickey and Morgan yet. He's been keeping that under wraps. So that's very interesting. I guess he's trying to figure like there is a chance that he could still stay, so he doesn't want to burn those bridges. He hasn't had any big like blow ups or anything from what we've seen. Ashley and Will are also pissed because Mickey and Morgan have made it pretty obvious over the last few days that they just want to drag Ashley and Will and Rachel to the jury point of the game so that they can be votes for either Mickey or Morgan to win in the end. I'm so sick of jury talk. Yeah, I hope it's like a 5-person jury so like none of these people make jury. I guess that wouldn't be very exciting for the finale if it was only 5 people, but 7 tops. Right? We don't need a huge jury. Or 9. I don't remember anymore. Whatever, I don't care. So Ashley got into it a bit the other night with Mickey. We talked about this yesterday. Mickey is pissed that Ashley has not like congratulated her on this big move that she made. She thinks that Ashley is ungrateful. So she was telling Ashley, you would be going up on the block if Jimmy won HOH. So you should be excited about taking Jimmy out. You should be for this. And Ashley is like, well, maybe he would have put me up before all of this, but I think things have changed now that you put him up on the block, which I think is pretty fair to say. Mickey does not follow that line of thinking. Mickey follows her own line of thinking, but Mickey told Ashley, well, I don't have any more powers, Pookie. So she was basically telling Ashley, you should be grateful because I used my power to save you this week. I don't think it was necessarily to save Ashley in particular. I think Mickey was worried about going up on the block herself. And where has that worry gone? Why is she not worried about Riley anymore? But during the retells of that conversation, Ashley was saying she's ready to cut Mickey and Morgan loose. She doesn't need them anymore. Mickey and Morgan have been saying they're ready to cut Ashley loose as soon as next week. So like things are falling apart quickly here. But while the feeds were down yesterday, Rachel got gooed. She got hit with a bunch of goo. If you watched the first Big Brother Unlocked episode 2 Fridays ago, they were letting America vote on who they think has the worst fashion sense in the house. I mean, it was pretty obvious they were angling for Rachel to get this because they've had multiple segments on the show about Rachel's fashion choices. So she got gooed while the feeds were down, and it sounds like maybe she also got something good out of it, like potentially a shopping spree or something. I'm not quite sure exactly. I guess we're not going to find out until Friday's episode. There was some speculation from the other house guests, like, what if she got a power? What if she got like a veto? Or she's going to take over an HOH or something? Like, they don't know. I think it was a shopping spree, something like that. But Rachel took it in stride. She had fun with it. She's like, I'm glad I got gooed. All right. So, I mean, she understands how this stuff works. Like, it's an honor to be voted something, even if it's a punishment like that. But yesterday afternoon, Ashley and Will were chatting in the wine room. And Ashley was like, I found out some juicy info I got to share. So she says, I already had my suspicions, but it has now been confirmed that Zach and Vinny were trying to flip the vote last week for Adrian to stay and Will to go. And Will's like, yeah, I did have my suspicions that maybe they were doing that. So he's asking Ashley, how did you confirm it? Who did you hear that from? And Ashley says, Ava told her. And Will's like, ooh, fancy. So this is interesting because Ava is supposed to be like super, super tight with Will. So I thought, I would think that she would have already told him this, but I don't think she did. It's kind of interesting. And I don't think it's because she's necessarily trying to hide anything from Will. I think Ava, our sweet baby angel Ava, does not know what she's doing in this game. she's not good at this game. We're gonna get into that, but yeah, I'm surprised she hadn't already told Will about that. So Will and Ashley talk about how much things have changed in a week. Tell me about it. I never thought we would have been here right now. But Will says every week is a different chapter and we just keep starting over every week. That's a good way to look at it. They think that their best chance of keeping Jimmy this week is if he's up against Kelly. Because everybody seems to want Riley to stay no matter what. It seems a given that if Riley is still up on the block after the competition, he will be staying. So Ashley suspects that Jimmy is not actually a tennis coach, which is correct. He has been lying about both where he lives and, what he does for a living. So Ashley says Jimmy's really smart. And some of the terminology that he uses, it just sounds very specific and not like a tennis coach. She says maybe he's a lawyer, maybe he works in cybersecurity, or maybe he's like writing policy, something. But she suspects that there's more to Jimmy than that he's not sharing. And again, she is correct. And we saw the other day that Jimmy has shared his actual, sorry. The season's getting to me. Jimmy did share his actual story with Rachel the other day. So I'm sure that will come out more at some point. Maybe like if he does get evicted, maybe he'll share it on the way out. Maybe Rachel will share it. Who knows? But anyway, they think that Mickey is now working with Morgan, Zach, Vince, and Lauren. And again, a main reason why they think this is because they feel like Mickey was convinced to make this move specifically by Morgan and Vince because those two really wanted Jimmy to go out. They've been pushing for it. And looking at that group of 5, they think that Mickey is at the bottom. They think she's number 5. If it comes down to it, that group is going to cut Mickey before anyone else. And I would agree with that. I mean, Zach and Vince seem so much tighter. with both Lauren and Morgan. So she just did their dirty work and they're ready to throw her in the garbage if they need to. So Will says that group of 5, that is the group that we need to target moving forward. We need to draw the line and make some moves here. Yeah. And Ashley agrees. She says, Mickey has forced our hand at this point. We got to do this. So Ava joins them. And this kills me. All right. Ava joins them. And Ashley's like, so we know who the top people are now, just looking at how things went down this week. And she's asking Ava, do you see who those top people are? Who do you think it is? And Ava's like, I don't know, Jimmy, Rachel, Keanu, Kelly. And Ashley's like, wait, you think those are the people at the top right now? Those are the people making the moves? And Ava's like, I don't know. I don't freaking know. Like, you're asking all of these questions. So she says she doesn't know. Clearly. I mean, she's naming all the people that are like the big targets and have been going up on the block, except for Rachel. But Ashley says, we're going to need to move some things around here so that we can make it further in this game. She says, unfortunately, Keanu could be useful for us next week. And getting him out would change nothing for us, really. I mean, I do think that Keanu would target specifically Ashley. But I do see what she's saying. They've got bigger fish to fry right now. They got to take out some of these power players that are actually running stuff. While Keanu is a threat to Ashley's game, he doesn't have a ton of sway over other people. I mean, unless you count Morgan and Mickey this week, which really like set off that Jimmy train. But yeah, he doesn't hold the same amount of sway the way that like Zach or Vince does. So she is not as concerned with taking out Keanu. But Ashley and Will start pushing to Ava that Vince is going to have to go. She says, we're going to have to change our trajectory moving forward if we want to get far in this game. And Ava doesn't seem very interested in planning anything past this week. She's like, we don't know who's going to be HOH, so why are we wasting our time trying to plan ahead? Okay. I mean, you might want to talk about these things a little bit, but sure. So Ava's asking them, what's the bottom line this week? What are we doing with this vote? And she says, if we're serious about the 3 of us, Mickey and Rachel, working together, then we can talk about what we want to do moving forward, like as a group, when it comes to that, if one of us wins HOH. So like, she still wants to work with Mickey though? Really? After putting Jimmy up? Okay. But again, Ava just doesn't see the point in planning ahead, so they don't really get anywhere in this conversation with her. Oof, we'll come back to that. But meanwhile, Jimmy has been campaigning to Vinny. And Jimmy says he's still confused about why he's on the block this week. He says Mickey's explanation just doesn't make sense. And he's saying, I don't know who I can even trust anymore. I'm sorry. Once I start yawning, I can't stop, but it's really bad. But I'm sorry. Let me see if this will help. The more I try to swallow a yawn, I want to say yarn. I always want to say yarn. The more I try to swallow a yawn, it just keeps going. So, yes, Jimmy doesn't know who to trust anymore. He says, even though Mickey put him up this week, he still would not nominate her if he were to stay and win HOH. He's got bigger fish to fry. He feels like maybe he could still work things out with Mickey, maybe work with her moving forward. He also just doesn't feel like this is Mickey's move. He thinks somebody else influenced her, and Jimmy suspects that one of those people is who he's talking to right now. He knows that Vince was probably instrumental in getting Mickey to make this move. So Jimmy, he feels that he has 4 votes potentially, and he doesn't name them, but I'm assuming he's talking about Rachel, Ashley, Will, and then maybe Ava. So he tells Vince, if you and Lauren also vote to keep me, I'll be able to stay. Good luck with that. I think he knows it's a long shot to get Vince on board because Vince was partially responsible for getting him up there. But Vince is like, oh yeah, that's great, whatever. He is continuing to whine about how scared he is of Rachel. She doesn't like me. So Jimmy says if you vote to keep me this week, that will make Rachel trust you more, right? You'll be showing with your actions that you want to work with us. So he also throws out there, you would be good with Rachel and Ashley if you vote to keep me. I feel like he shouldn't be dropping names like that to fans. I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's obvious that he's super close to Rachel, but maybe, like, don't drop Ashley's name in there just yet. But that is something that happened. So then Rachel was chatting in the HOH room with Mickey. And this was hilarious. Rachel was like, you made the move, girl. You did it. It's a great move. You had to do it. Like, honestly, what a move, right? You weren't scared. And Mickey says, I was terrified. So then Rachel's like, well, so many Big Brother players wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have been able to, you know? And Mickey's like, it's scary, Rach. I know they love Jimmy. I do too. And Rachel's like, well, I was talking about the move of taking the HOH from Riley. But no, putting up Jimmy, I don't think was the right move. So yeah, the vibe shifted immediately when Rachel said that. Mickey was not happy about it. But she kept that under wraps a bit, right? This wasn't the reaction that she gave to Ashley the night before. So Rachel says, we'll see what happens. I still think that Jimmy is going to win the blockbuster competition. And she tells Mickey, I understand why you made the move you felt that you had to make. Uh-oh. So something tells me Mickey was not enjoying this conversation. If she's not getting praised for this move, she's not going to be happy, right? So a few minutes later, Ava is chatting with Mickey. This is where things really just go to shit. I'm sorry, but they do. It's just a mess. So Ava starts telling on Ashley. No! So she says, Ashley is shady. And Ava says, I want to be on Rachel's side. But Mickey brings up Rachel is now super close with Ashley and Jimmy. They're like a little trio now, and we can't have that. So Ava says, don't talk to Ashley about jack shit anymore. She says, I like her a lot as a person, but she just tried to get me and Will to vote for Jimmy to stay. She was tempting us. It was mischievous. Ava, what? So Mickey is like, oh, so she thinks you guys are dumb, huh? So this is where I also get really confused because Ava is like straight up telling on Ashley, but she's making it seem like Will wasn't also a part of this discussion, like pro maybe keeping Jimmy around, shaking things up, taking out Vince. She's putting this all on Ashley. And like we already saw that when Will was talking alone with Ashley, he was super into the idea of flipping things and keeping Jimmy. But in front of Ava, I mean, I wonder if things would have been different if Will had talked to Ava alone first before Ashley started bringing that stuff up, because we could have had a different situation right now. But all right. Ava says that she's loyal to Mickey and Will, and that's it. Nobody else. Man, she's out of the loop. So she says Ashley is shade in this game. She says the conversation with Ashley was such a weird one. And Mickey's like, I get it. Ashley is at the bottom right now. She's probably going to go up next week. She's not doing herself any favors, right? So Ava says, I might even put Ashley up next week if I win HOH just for that conversation. She says, that shit pissed me the F off. And she says, like, we're supposed to be a team. Apparently there's supposed to be some team with Will, Ashley, Ava, Mickey, and Rachel. I don't know what this alliance is. I don't know if this was ever like a named thing or an official thing. But Ava says team members don't secretly go to other team members like that. And then Mickey chimes in to make a move against my HOH. So Ava again is telling Mickey, do not talk any game with Ashley because she is going to try to use it against you. Oh, Ava, what are you doing? So then they pull in Will to chat with them. And Will is like, I don't know what Ashley's doing. I love her. I mean, we've seen him on the show talk about how Ashley is like a daughter to him in there. But he says Ashley is playing a dangerous game. Will, no! He says it's clear that she's picked her side. She's with Rachel and Jimmy. And Mickey says, I still love Rachel and I want her in jury. Translation, I still want her to vote for me to win. But she says, I'm not going to keep Jimmy around just so that she can keep playing dress up with him. Ouch. I will say, though, it's worth mentioning that Jimmy was wearing Rachel's sequined black old lady top yesterday that he was making fun of before. He was wearing that. And then he actually looked pretty good in it. And Rachel was like, you know what? I want you to have this top. She gave it to him. And it reminded me of the Princess Bride when they gave the cloak to, was it Mongo? And he was like, it fits so nice. She said I could keep it. But Jimmy did say if he gets evicted, he is going to take the top. And when he wears it, he'll think of Rachel. Oh, wonderful. It's just funny, though, to see him wearing that top after he was so against it. Now he loves it. But anyway, Mickey, back to this Mickey, Will, and Ashley Ava conversation. Mickey was like, all right, so we needed Ashley before as a number, but we're taking her out of the equation. What if we replace her with Riley and Catherine? How would you guys feel about that? Boo! I would not feel good about that. But Mickey says not to make an actual group with them, but to be aligned with them. So an alliance that's not called an alliance. Basically, they want to be friends with benefits with Riley and Catherine, right? They want to get the benefits of being safe and being protected by them, but they don't want to have the commitment of being in an actual named alliance with them. So Mickey says we can work on relationships with them so that if they win HOH, they won't put us up and maybe they'll trust us and confide in us and ask us our opinions on who should go up. Sounds an awful lot like an alliance. But Will and Ava are saying, yes, we're good with that. I think that's great, whatever. And then Will's asking, would you guys want to work with Keanu? Because it seems like he's really looking for a lifeline at this point, right? He needs somebody to take him in and work with him. So Ava and Mickey kind of give like wishy-washy answers. They're like, yeah, we'll work with him from afar. I mean, so you basically just want to be good with everyone. Like that's what this is, right? All right. So anyway, also in this conversation, Mickey, Will, and Ava lock in as an official final three. My response to that, who even cares at this point? Because I feel like every time we see one of these alliances form, does it even matter? Are they even going to be loyal to each other for more than like 10, 15 minutes? I'll start caring when they actually like do something together as a group. That's when I'll start caring. But a little later, oh, I think my dad's home. A little later, Riley and Catherine were chatting. And Riley was actually saying he wants Morgan out. So much for working with Riley and Catherine, right? Also, he said he wants Ava out. They better get to work on these relationships with Riley and Catherine if they want to be safe if they win HOH. But Riley says that Ava is dirty. Like she leaves her stuff all over the house and he's sick of it. So we'll see what happens there. But Vince and Rachel finally have a one-on-one in the have-not room. So Vinny is apologizing for not talking to Rachel more before because they've had this weirdness, this tension between them, right? And a huge reason for that is because Rachel sees the way that Vince is playing this game. And Vince has had it come back to him that Rachel sees what he's doing. And he knows that Rachel is trying to get people to target him. So he's trying to like smooth things over here. And he's like, I'm a socially anxious person. I'm a nervous person. I mean, I get that. But also like, it hasn't stopped him from talking to everybody else and making alliances with everybody else, right? But Rachel's apologizing for any part she may have played in their weird situation, whatever. She says, I would love to get to know you on a personal level. So they chat for a while, yada, yada, yada. They agree that they're going to start over. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. And I did see Rachel talking to Jimmy later and basically saying she's not buying anything that Vinny was trying to sell her. She even felt like he was like fake crying during the conversation. So I don't think it really did much. But anyway, maybe Vince will stop complaining now about how Rachel doesn't like him. So, something fun yesterday. The house guests celebrated Kelly's 30th birthday. Woo! Happy birthday to Kelly. It's actually today, Wednesday, but they celebrated yesterday. So, they made a cookie cake. Ava did this like portrait of Kelly on the cookie cake with icing, and it was actually like amazing. It looked awesome. Dinner was cooked by Jimmy, and I think Rachel was helping him, and they made this like mushroom fettuccine alfredo or something like that. This will be important later. Kelly was wearing a sparkly pink dress. She gave a little speech. She said she's overjoyed to have met all of them. All of them have touched her in some way in here. And she says this is the best experience of her life. Is it? Because she seems pretty miserable most of the time in there. I don't know about that, but she was having a great time yesterday, so we love that for her. But Big Brother gave them some alcohol to celebrate. So after the dinner portion of the evening wrapped up, the two sour grapes, Morgan and Mickey, took their alcohol upstairs to wine. You guys like my double wordplay in there? But they go up to the HOH room. Everybody else is having a good time downstairs and outside, but they go up to the HOH room with their drinks and they're complaining about the food. Morgan's like, I barely got any mushrooms. It was just noodles and spinach. Like, we're going to be hungry again in 20 minutes. Mickey says, these people are sick. These two do not like that Rachel is spending so much time hanging out with Ashley and Jimmy. Apparently, now that Jimmy's on the block, he's not allowed to have friends. He's not allowed to socialize with anybody. But Morgan says, we're going to have to protect Rachel yet again because she is associating with Jimmy, who's good for nobody's game. So now Rachel's going to be good for nobody's game, and we're going to have to protect her. So Morgan says she wants to tell Rachel, you know we're trying to get you to jury, right? I'm sure she'll take that really well. But she's also going to say, like, you attaching yourself closer and closer to Jimmy is detaching yourself from so many more people. I would love to see Morgan say that to Rachel's face. I don't think it's going to happen, but can you imagine? Also, I don't think Rachel cares. She's having a good time with Jimmy and Ashley, and I don't think she cares what Morgan and Mickey think about it. But Mickey thinks that people were being really fake at dinner. And Morgan brings up, did you notice how nobody thanked the chefs, Jimmy and Rachel? And Morgan's like, I wasn't about to. And Mickey says, no, because it was terrible. Damn. Mickey says the whole dinner situation really pissed her off. Like everybody basically putting in all that effort to make Kelly's birthday special. And she says, I get that it's Kelly's birthday, but she's got to go. She says Kelly is not 100% deserving of all of this. She has been causing so much shit and turmoil in this house. She can't have a damn birthday party. Listen, I'm not the biggest Kelly fan, but it was delightful to see her enjoying her birthday yesterday. So it's too much. But anyway, they discuss Ashley being their next target after Jimmy goes. And then they are crabbing about Jimmy being too calm right now. They're wondering, does he think he have the votes? Why is he not freaking out? Honestly, I think Jimmy is calm right now because he knows he doesn't have the votes. So why freak out about it? He knows he's going to have to win this blockbuster. I think that's what it is. But yeah. Also, freaking out is not really going to help him. People don't usually like that. So everyone else was having a good time chilling outside. At one point, Rachel, Ashley, and Jimmy were chatting. And Jimmy advises Ashley, you should be keeping an eye on Zach. I think she's keeping two eyes on Zach. But Jimmy says, Zach told me as recently as last week that if he wins HOH, he would put you up on the block and he would also make you a have-not. This is true. I remember Zach was definitely saying this to a bunch of different people and he seemed really serious about it. He cannot stand Ashley, but then he'll go and flirt with her like it's nothing. So Ashley does not want to believe this. She's like, maybe he was joking. Like, I just don't see how that could be. Girl. So then Rachel and Ashley are chatting alone. And Ashley says straight up, she doesn't believe that information about Zach. Come on, girl. But they talk about the votes this week. And of course, they both want Jimmy to stay. But they know that if he doesn't win that blockbuster, he's going to end up going. The votes just are not there to keep him. They're also realizing their list of potential nominees, not nominees, sorry, that's growing. Their potential list of allies is shrinking. There are not a ton of people that they could potentially work with. So they're like, oh my God, we might even have to try working with Keanu. That would actually be hilarious if they were working together and they were all actually on board with it. I'd enjoy that. So a little later, Rachel's asking Jimmy, why did you tell Ashley that stuff about Zach? Why did you tell her that he would nominate her and he would make her have not? And Jimmy's like, well, I mean, she's always saying like she feels so safe with Zach, and I don't want her to think that she is when he's a freaking liar. I mean, he's looking out for her, right? Which is good. But Rachel says, okay, but think of it this way. Ashley clearly has a crush on Zach. So if you're saying that stuff to her, she's going to get mad at you. And she might even go and tell Zach what you said. You know, it's going to bite you in the butt. You've got to be extra careful right now because you are on the block. Everything that you say could end up going to the wrong people. So Jimmy ends up apologizing to Ashley a few minutes later after that conversation. And he's like, I think Zach was like joking around about nominating you and making you a have not. And I just like took it the wrong way. Definitely not. He was not joking, but yeah, Jimmy's like, I hope I didn't upset you. That wasn't my intention. And Ashley's like, it's all good. All right. Then, not long after that, Ashley's like, I need to probably talk to Mickey and smooth things over because things are not good between us right now. What do I do? So she's asking Rachel, Will, I don't remember if Jimmy was there or not, but she's asking for advice. And they're telling her, like, just go say that you feel like things are not the same anymore. You used to be such close friends and you want that back. So Ashley did go and try to smooth things over with Mickey in the HOH room, and it was awkward. Ashley brought up the obvious tension between them, and Mickey was like, no, I'm fine. There's no tension. Yeah. Mickey kept insisting she's fine. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So they both bring up issues that they don't actually care about, right? They don't want to admit that they actually care about these things, but Mickey is pissed that Ashley seems to be supporting Jimmy. Ashley doesn't like that Mickey didn't really include her in the decision to put Jimmy up on the block. Ashley did not want that to happen. Mickey doesn't like that Ashley hasn't been supportive of her move, and she's heard that Ashley has been campaigning for Jimmy to stay. So Ashley denies this, and she's saying, I would vote Jimmy out if he is still on the block after the competition. And Mickey's telling her, like, no, don't worry about me. Like, vote how you want. But she was also saying, like, we're going to find out who's on what side with these votes. Like, the lines will be drawn. So Mickey was very closed off during this conversation. She kept saying, just like, we're fine, I promise, like, it's all good. So then eventually Ashley whips up some tears. She's saying, like, you were my closest friend in this house. I don't know if these tears were legit or not, but Mickey was still like, very, very not into it. But then at some point in the conversation, Ashley is bringing up Zach and Vinny's shadiness and how they wanted to vote Will out last week. And she's like, yeah, they were going to do it, but they couldn't get Ava on board, so they couldn't make it happen. And Mickey's like, really? She didn't want to believe it at first, but then she was like, I didn't know that. So it seems like Ashley really got her attention with that. So after this conversation, Mickey asks Ava about the votes from last week, and Ava confirms that Vinny and Zach were trying to vote out Will. That is what they wanted to do. They wanted to keep Adrian. And Ava says Vinny is a problem. Okay, I just have to point out that Will and Ashley were bringing up how Vinny is a problem to Ava, but then she decided to like tell on them to Mickey. I guess her anger was more about them wanting to keep Jimmy this week than targeting Vince in the future. But anyway, Ava is not liking the way that Vince is moving in this game. So Mickey agrees. And she's like, the problem is Morgan is really close to Vinny. She is going to freak out if, she would have freaked out this week if I took a shot at Vince. So Ava's like, okay, but if I win HOH, maybe I put Vinny up on the block. I'm not that close to Morgan. Ooh. Can you imagine if Ava's the one to take out Vinny? It would be wild. But later, Ashley checks in with Ava, and Ashley is now telling Ava, we need to vote out Jimmy this week because that's what Mickey wants, and I want her to feel supported. No! So she's asking Ava, what do you think about it? And Ava's like, I want to go to bed. She says, it's too much for one day. I don't want to do this anymore. We can talk tomorrow. She says, I have a new rule. It's like no game talk after midnight. I mean, I get that to a certain extent, but also like, girl, you're at Big Brother. But also, would it have been so hard for her to be like, I agree, Jimmy should go? Because like that's what she's been saying. I don't know. But this morning, Ashley was chatting with Rachel and Will, and Ashley says Jimmy is being messy. She says he must have told Mickey that I've been campaigning for him, and that's why she was mad at me. And Rachel's like, I don't know about that. Like, that would be really weird for Jimmy to do. That's like him shooting himself in the foot. Why would he say that to Mickey? He didn't. He did not. We saw earlier, we mentioned that Jimmy said to Vince, if you keep me, that Rachel and Ashley will be good with you. But like, I don't think that Vince shared that with Mickey, to my knowledge. But we clearly saw Ava sell out Ashley to Mickey. So it was Ava told on you, and Will kind of did also. Will also told on Ashley. But she doesn't know about that. She thinks that Jimmy spilled to Mickey. I mean, even if she hadn't spilled, I think it's kind of obvious that Ashley was wanting Jimmy to stay because of like the way she was acting and like questioning Mickey about the move and all of that. But all that aside, Ashley says she wants to distance herself from Jimmy for right now because she can't be taking that heat. Oof, girl, the heat is already there. It's already there. But Jimmy and Rachel also had a chat earlier, and he's having some regrets. He is now regretting taking out Amy on his HOH. He's like, she was a number for me. And he tells Rachel, I should have listened to you. Yeah. I mean, we saw that coming, right? So he also reveals if he does stay and wins HOH, he would want to put up Morgan and Vinny. I'm not sure who the third nominee would be, but Morgan would be his number one target. Vince would be his backup target. Damn. That would really shake things up. It would be wild. I'd love to see it. But that is his plan for right now. So we'll see what happens today. The eviction is tomorrow. As of now, Jimmy, it's not looking good. Jimmy will be going unless he wins the blockbuster competition. And if he doesn't, it looks like he goes home against either Riley or Kelly. Now, if it's Riley versus Kelly on the block, it looks like Kelly goes. Because again, everybody is just like, we can't get rid of Riley. Riley has to stay. So we'll see if any of the nominees besides Jimmy try to campaign. I have my doubts, but we'll see. So also, I wanted to let you guys know tomorrow's HOH competition is the knockout comp. So this is when it's a mental competition and they have people go up head to head. And if you get the question right or the other person gets the question wrong, you get to pick who is going to go up against each other next. So this competition is chaotic, right? Because you don't have a lot of time to think about who you're pairing together. And this competition can really show people's cards and show where they stand. So that's very exciting. So that is going to be tomorrow's HOH competition. And next week is the wall. Everybody's talking about the wall. It's next week. And this information comes to us via Hamster Watch, one of the OG amazing Big Brother updaters. So she's always got the goods. So I want to thank you all so much for being here. And I want to give a special thanks to our super chatters. So let's see who we got. Jimmy Owens, thank you so much. Jimmy says, thanks for all you and your mom do. Watcher since the start. Thank you. I was just thinking about that last night. We've been watching since season 1, but we didn't start covering the show until season 8. But like, that was so long ago. I can't even believe it. I've been covering the show for longer than I haven't been, which is wild. But thank you so much, Jimmy, for sticking with us for the ride. Brian Yell, thank you so much. Brian says, I heard about Mickey making comments about Jimmy that had homophobic undertones. Did you see any of this? If true, that is so disappointing. So here's the thing. I heard people talking about this online. It was basically something along the lines of like, Jimmy, I can't even remember the exact wording, and I don't want to put it out there without knowing the exact wording. But from what I have seen, I haven't seen a video clip of that anywhere. I have not personally seen any transcripts of that. I've just seen people claiming that she said that. So like I haven't seen any evidence of it. If it is true, it's terrible, but like I have not seen that. So I'm not gonna put that out there. But yeah, I have also seen people saying that Mickey is making game decisions based on like religion, and because like certain house guests are more religious, specifically like Christian, she's like giving them more allowances. I mean, specifically like look at Riley. He was yelling in her face the other day, and the clip now from that argument is now out there. That's going to be on tonight's episode, so you can see that now if you want. I think it was on Parade's website. He's like literally yelling in her face and saying like he's going to take her out, whatever. But like that's okay. Like she'll forgive that. But then like she doesn't give the same chance to Jimmy. I don't know. It's messy, but to make a long story short, I did not see Mickey or hear Mickey say anything like that. All right. Jason Brooks, thank you so much. Jason says $2 for a holla. Yay. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Jason M, thank you so much. And what a cute little sticker. Bravo to you. Chance Pryor, thank you so much. Chance says, Mickey, least fave in the house now, fall from grace. It was quite the fall from grace, but I have to say, for me, Morgan is below her. Whenever I hear Morgan talk now on the feeds, I'm just like, make it stop. It's too much. I can't. Thank you. Nick Silverstein, thank you so much. Nick is in the house. He says, surprise. You know, I've been watching you guys for over 17 years, and I'm still a huge fan. And of course, now Randy is too. Much love. Nick, you have no idea how much that means to us. You are amazing, and we're so happy to see you here. Thank you for sticking with us. You're amazing. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go. We do have the episode tonight, and just a reminder, it is the 90-minute episode. So get ready. Should be an interesting ride tonight with like the whole HOH takeover and the fallout from that, and then nominations, veto. So it's going to be a crazy one, but thank you all for being here. We'll see you later. And until next time, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye.